Hello captains and welcome to the channel. Before getting into the review, if you're looking for in-depth reviews of the ships in Star Trek Online, you've come to the right channel, as this is what I do. And while you're watching this video, divert all power from your life support to energy weapons, and when the like button is in range, blast it out of orbit. The Da Vinci class is an upgraded version of the Sabre class, which was created by Starfleet to combat the Borg, but saw extensive action during the Dominion War with the Federation. The Da Vinci class is the next generation of the Sabre class that improves on the initial design and supports experimental weapons technology. The Da Vinci Miracle Worker Escort was released on November 4th, 2021, and can be obtained by the Zen store for 3,000 Zen or $30 for the ship individually, or as part of the Agile Classics bundle for 6,000 Zen or $60. Purchasing the ship will unlock the Fleet Module discount if purchasing the Fleet version of this ship. The Da Vinci can be flown by either faction. The bridge officer's seating is as follows: a Commander Tactical / Miracle Worker, a Lieutenant Commander Tactical, a Lieutenant Commander Engineer, a Lieutenant Universal, and an Ensign Science Officer. The ship stats are as follows: base hull starting at 49,500, hull modifier of 1.1, shield modifier of 0.9, turn rate of 16, impulse modifier of 0.2, inertia rating of 65. The Da Vinci gets 2 device slots and allows you to equip 4 tactical, 3 engineering, 3 science, and 1 universal consoles. The Da Vinci also gets a plus 10 to weapon and engine power and plus 5 to shield and auxiliary power. The Da Vinci comes equipped with the Gatling emitter experimental weapon. And finally, since the Da Vinci is a Miracle Worker type ship, it comes with the Innovation Effects abilities. The Da Vinci's weapon configuration is a 4 forward and 3 aft facing configuration. The Gatling emitter experimental weapon does a rapid non-stop damage after spin up. After 3 seconds, the Gatling locks on the target and does kinetic damage times 4 per second to the enemy until they are destroyed. The Gatling emitter has a recharge time of 8 seconds. The universal console the Da Vinci is equipped with is the Troyes Protocol. This console gives a passive bonus to outgoing hull healing for plus 28.5% and minus 18.8% to weapon power cost. When the console is activated, the console increases haste, beam damage, and you are unkillable for 8 seconds. For another 8 seconds, your weapons go offline, but you are stealth, and your hull and shield gain a 3% heal for each second. There is the standard 2-minute cooldown period for this console. The ship mastery starting at Tier 1 is Precise Weapon System, giving you plus 5 to accuracy. At Tier 2, you get Tactical Maneuvering, which grants you a plus 5% to defense. Tier 3, you get Enhanced Weapon Systems, that gives a plus 10% to both kinetic and energy damage. At Tier 4, you gain Devastating Weaponry that gives a plus 2.5% to critical chance damage. At Tier 5, you obtain the ship's mastery of Energy Overdrive. This ability, when equipped on your starship traits, gives momentum and beam damage from beam firing modes. This means that any beam abilities such as Beam Overload, Fire at Will, Exceed Rate Limits, or Surgical Strike cannon abilities are not included. Will increase your stats to plus 100% to flight speed and turn rate for 10 seconds and plus 10 to 50% all damage with energy weapons for 10 seconds. The percentage beam damage is increased based on the proximity of the enemy target. For the Admiralty stats, the Da Vinci has 37 engineering, 50 tactical, 21 science, an 18-hour maintenance cooldown, and the special ability is 2.5 critical rating from engineering. My final thoughts on the Da Vinci: to me, the ship was misnamed. When you look at the history of the ships and the following classes, the Sabre, the Rapier, the Yishan, and the Gladius classes were all named after swords or blades. To me, when I think of Da Vinci in connection with ships, it would be an engineering ship and not an escort. I have no trouble with it being a Miracle Worker ship, but the name seems out of place compared to the following lines of ships in that class. Another point is the ship design, as it looks like a horseshoe crab. A horseshoe crab doesn't really convince me of something that is dangerous in a fight. Don't get me wrong, I do like the ship design, I just don't think it works for this class type. Perhaps maybe I'm being too harsh, and I admit I probably am. The Gatling emitter has a small drawback with 3 seconds on locking on, which some cases 3 seconds isn't quick enough to engaging an enemy ship, especially if it's a weak enemy or if you have a teammate that can destroy several enemies in one volley. Also, with having an 8-second cooldown, you essentially have 8 seconds between targets. Another thing about the Da Vinci is the 3-4 weapon configuration. I would have liked to see a 5-3 weapon configuration, but when you consider that the Gladius class only having a 3-1 split, despite the fact that it was a tier 2 ship, the Da Vinci certainly did get an upgrade in weapon slots. The bridge officer seating is also good, despite no real flexibility with the only Lieutenant Universal seating. The Troyes Protocol console is pretty good with the passive abilities and helps those that might need the extra hull healing percentages, and the lower weapon cost is also beneficial. As for the clicky part of the console, the extra damage in haste certainly helps. The downside is the remaining last 8 seconds when you are without weapon power, and it does hurt a bit, unless you have a high enough stealth number, and I'm not entirely sure on this, but if you have the ability to use a battle cloak right afterwards, then this would certainly be useful until the timer runs out. The ship mastery, the energy overdrive, is pretty good with the ability not only increasing Cat 1 energy damage, but gives you a boost in flight and turn rate, making those hit and run tactics that much better. Overall, the Da Vinci, while not named correctly in my opinion, it's still a good ship to fly with many good features. To score the ship out of 10, I would probably give it a 7 out of 10, only for the downsides of the Gatling emitter and the console. The ship name and design are not part of this score. Well, captains, that is it for the end of the Da Vinci Miracle Worker Escort review. I hope you found the review informative, and I would love to hear your thoughts on the Da Vinci class ship. Do you agree or disagree with me? Let me know in the comment section below, and as always, thank you for your continued support. Live long and prosper. This is Phoenix from Starfleet Command, signing out.